So I came to talk about a little bit more of my story because not many people know about the stuff that I went through. I've had some people in my life that have expected the same results. But this is what I actually did instead of doing the same thing I did last year, being quiet. People in my life thought this was normal for me. Like, I was gonna immediately stay quiet for the next how many years? No, that's not the result of that I got. The new result that I actually gave them was way much easier. My silence. During like one of my classes, I learned that the the psychological things and the psychological warfare that people do on you and how you can change that. So during like all those years that I remained silent and uncooperative or I never expressed myself completely, it was because I knew I would get the same result. The same way people act, the same habits, the same everything. I never really had an open relationship with anybody, and it's not really my fault. It was the people that I grew up around with, the people that I listened to, the people that I thought were, so happy to see me every morning, so happy to be around me, so happy to say, "Oh, I love you," but that was furthest from the truth. I guess when you accept the same results from somebody, or the same habits, or the same lifestyle from somebody, I think that's really immature of a person to expect a person to react in a way that would fit their pockets or their benefits or their feelings or their validations or the just the general way of life that they were thinking. So now that I woke up from the sickness of my ever depending nightmare, I've noticed like key several things in my life that kept me back and kept me quiet and distance for all those years. It was because it was the same results, the same people, the same words, the same sounds, same places, the same things. And it was all because they expected the same results. This year, I didn't give them the same results that they wanted to. I basically broke their fragile little ego and their fragile little reality and said, no, sorry. I'm not going to accept the words that you put in, that you basically spouted out to me. I basically took those words, took them for what they were, and walked away from the situation at hand. Expecting the same results from what I've learned in like my classes is that it'll ruin you. And giving someone those same results won't make them any less intelligent. So I stopped what I was doing. I really thought about everybody, every person that I ever talked to, my family, and old friends that I now no longer associate with because they expected the same results of any other person that would probably suck up to them or the same results of a look-alike personality that they might have. Instead, I gave them my silence. I don't know what they expected of me, but it was mostly a lot of noise that they made and some awful dysfunctional stuff that also went on in my life. I think the biggest thing that I've actually learned from them is that if you do the same results, they're still going to be the same person. They're still going to not listen to the words that they said or even said to your face. They're not going to understand. It's like they're going to be, for lack of a better word, like they're not going to completely understand you. So during this year, I gave them my total complete silence and I started focusing on things other than the people that I surrounded myself with for the 27 years of my life. I started talking to different people. I started talking to healthy people. And I started to realize that not everyone's gonna be the same. Not everyone's gonna give you that same result like they always should. I really feel sorry for the people that I have met in my life that come to the conclusion that, oh, I'm gonna give them the same results. No. I think people need to wake up and realize that not everyone's going to give you the same personality, the same bullshit smile. Sorry, I cussed again. That's my bad. The same, oh, I'm going to, take this with a grain of salt, or I'm going to take this and I'm just going to react the way I'm going to react. I figured out a bunch of stuff about myself this year, and I think one of the biggest things that most people don't grow up learning is that they're not going to get the same result that they want to. They're not going to get that person to do the same thing they did last year or the year before or the same thing after. And I think that's what change is really all about. That person not doing what they did last year or not wanting to suffer through the same thing they did years before. And people don't recognize this until it's too late. This year I started playing the violin. I started doing my own things. I went to this man's house who had a violin and I said, "Hey, I need this and this to change something." So I wouldn't get the same result or the same attitude, the same things I did last year. And during class, I also learned that you can put on the best face you can do. You can put on the best thing you can, but if you expect the same results from somebody or the same thing, that person is not eagerly going to like you or want to be around you. I never understood why people never accepted me for who I was and they expected the worst out of me. So I simply gave them my silence. I think what changed me was the classes, the things that they were teaching me. They were teaching me the psychological, the physiological things of the human brain or the human mind or like the human thought process. But I think what really frustrated me out of all of this was that they would get the complete result from me. They would get the same results as someone else would on the internet or offline or just anywhere that they would find their little enjoyments to get out of. Me starting this blog was an actual change for me because during this year I opened a lot of stuff, a lot of old things I didn't want to get necessarily back into. So I thought, this year's gonna change. This year's no one's gonna get the same results they did last year. I'm not gonna come back and say, oh, this is the same result you're gonna get, and that's it. So 2026 to 2027 is gonna be completely different. I mean, I came out agent, or that was one of the things I came out with. And I still like the thought of being an agender. That's what I love the most. I think people should learn that being agender or anything other than different is a key to learning and being mature, but that's not what people get. I guess when you expect one thing and you do the same habits, you become the same person you were last year.